So with a new trailer detailing the whole 6v1 boss battles and Majin Vegeta, that brings us some new stuff to talk about, and I'm pretty much going to be focusing on just the boss battling because Majin Vegeta is pretty self-explanatory. What sort of got my mindset going after I saw this trailer is this comment I saw on one of Rhymestyle's videos before the trailer actually went out, talking about how this could potentially be some sort of raid-like activity, or sort of like a super parallel quest or something like that. So I figured, hey, let's go ahead and take what we got for now. Let's see how that would work as a raid-like activity, and maybe we could get some more stuff that could be considered raid-esque in difficulty. Because we gotta remember that Dragon Ball Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, they're not just fighting games, they're RPGs at the same time. So there has to be some sort of end game for the people who don't want to constantly fight people online. There has to be something for them, and this might be it. So first of all, let's talk about the actual boss battles. So first and foremost, we got the Great Apes, which was first featured in that trailer. We didn't really see anything else, just the Great Apes. But they do have some new attacks, they do have some new animations, new jump maneuvers, new escape maneuvers, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how that fight is going to work. Now, I'm pretty sure it's going to work exactly the same way it did in Xenoverse 1, but with a few different changes. So in Xenoverse 1, they had this stamina bar that you had to take down before they go into a down state, and then you can grab their tail to deal big damage. I still think that's how it's going to work. They're still going to have the whole stamina bar that you got to take down, but they're going to have much better AI. They're going to be able to fend you off a lot better, and the stamina bar is actually going to be a lot tougher since this is a 6v1 fight, so naturally it has to be able to tank more damage against 6 players. Now the tail grab I don't think is going to deal as much damage as it did in Xenoverse 1, and I'll explain why it won't deal as much damage in just a second. Now, we've only seen Great Apes so far when it comes to boss battles, but we still have 2 other guys that could qualify as being a boss battle in Xenoverse 2. We've got Hirudegan and Janemba. So let's start off with Hirudegan. So the way I can see his boss battle working is sort of similar to how Great Apes work because he does still have a tail. So it's similar to the Great Ape battle. You take down his stamina to initiate a tail grab, but he's got completely different moves. He has fire breath attacks, he has an explosive wave ability, and also, he has something that a Great Ape doesn't have, and it's a really cool escape maneuver. It's a Vanishing Mist escape maneuver. So if he feels he's getting overwhelmed, he can just vanish away from you. Now, the tail grab, I would imagine, would have a different animation compared to a Great Ape, just to sort of differentiate the fight and not just make him a reskinned Great Ape fight. But yeah, that's Hirudegan if he were to be a boss. And next up, we have Janemba. Janemba would be a little weird. I know he does have a tail, but doing a tail grab would look kind of weird on him. So what I propose is, if he is going to be a boss fight, then I propose that instead of the tail grab, you simply grab at his stomach, and you do that sort of melee barrage that Super Saiyan 3 Goku does in the movie. That one. Also for abilities, he would probably have the full radial ki blast barrage thing he has, because he has those little holes in his stomach and all over his body that he can shoot ki blasts out of. And what he did in the movie is he just sort of spun around shooting the ki blast all over the place, so I'd imagine that's what he'd be able to do. And also for his defensive capabilities, since Great Apes have that powerful shout that stops you from attacking and blows you away, Hirudegan would have the explosive wave or the vanishing escape move. Janemba would probably have the dimensional portal shield. So if you tried to shoot a projectile at him, or you tried to charge at him, he could just open up a shield and teleport you away so you don't actually hit him. I don't know, that would be a pretty cool thing if he was an actual boss fight. But those are the guys that I would see as being the big bosses. I know we're probably going to have Timebreaker Broly and Timebreaker Turles as they showed in the trailer. But for the big guys, I'd imagine that's how it's going to work. Now also, during these fights, it looks like there's a new mechanic. And what happens is there's these mid-fight cross-dimensional battles. Meaning, when they initiate it, they blow everyone into a different dimension, and they either have to fight themselves or another enemy. And I think that's a pretty cool thing, because what that means is, if one person loses their fight in that dimension, they can't come out of that dimension and help everybody out with the actual boss. So one failure could be detrimental to the entire boss fight. And finally, we have the thing that got everybody hyped when it comes to these boss battles. It's the beam struggles. Everybody could pick this out from the trailer. You all saw Vegeta shooting that gigantic ki blast. You saw the other players trying to hold back the blast while the Super Saiyan 3 character stepped back to shoot a blast back and shoot it back at him. It looked awesome. I'm not gonna lie. But if that truly is a beam struggle, it's highly likely that's a beam struggle, but if that is truly a beam struggle, here's how I think it's going to work. That's going to be the ending to the boss battle. Once you get his health down to about half, it's going to trigger the mid-fight cross-dimensional battle, so you have to fight either your evil self or another different enemy, and then you come back, then you whittle his health down some more, and once you get it down low enough, the very end of that fight is going to be the big beam struggle. Now here's the way I think it's going to work. Now, the enemy's beam struggle, it's going to be extremely powerful. You need a lot of power to push that back. So what I'm assuming those players who are trying to stop the thing from going anywhere are doing is they're actually holding down the block animation, which I'd imagine would take some stamina away from them. So that seems like a role that some high stamina characters would probably head into, while everybody else who has the higher attack would probably step back to shoot their ki blast to push back the blast. So high stamina players, if my theory is right, are the ones who are going to be holding back the blast while everybody else is charging their energy up, ready to fire back. Now that would be an epic ending to a boss battle, especially if it's a 6v1. It's outstanding. I cannot wait to see how these things are going to go. Please don't disappoint, Bandai. You're doing so well, okay? You had a couple hiccups, like the whole data transferring thing, but you're doing well with taking our expectations and blowing them out of the water. Hopefully this means that there are other extremely high-level activities for a 6-man group to take on for extremely high rewards and high XP. Who knows? We'll see when Xenoverse 2 comes out. But that's all I got for today. I'll see you in the next video.